Welcome to the Red Shirt Podcast with your hosts, Vernon and Nigel. The Red Shirt Podcast, by Reds, for Reds.
Hello and welcome to this week's Red Shirt Podcast with Vernon and Nigel. Coming up, we'll be discussing and reviewing today's away win at Wolves. And it's GDANSK or bust, as United prepare for their final in the Europa League against Villarreal. So, Nigel, how are you doing? I can see that we've been joined by a superstar this week, haven't we? He's making a return.
Got some good guys in today. We got Tiggs again, who we had a few weeks ago. I'm surprised he's back actually with all his nonsense about Fred, but we've forgiven him and we gave him one last chance to redeem himself. And we've got my main man Nicky in the house today. He's a big, massive Red. We also share the same career. He's a great drummer as well. So, and he's also my nephew. So, cool dude.
Well, that's great. So, talking about the Wolves game today, United made 10 changes. Obviously, the team in mind was obviously preparations to the Europa League final on Wednesday. United won 2-1. Elenga and Mata with goals for United, and Semedo getting one. How did you feel about the setup of the team? United played a formation of 4-2-4. How did you think it went, Nicky?
I thought it went pretty well, to be fair. I think we were helped massively by the way Wolves were playing. I thought they were quite open, especially in the midfield area. So it helped the likes of Mata and Van der Beek and Matic and all that on the ball. They had quite a lot of space to operate. But I think everyone looked pretty sharp, to be fair. Bit of a nothing game, but the lads looked sharp and some of the young lads put in a good performance. I thought it was good.
Coming to you, Tyrell, was you impressed in the first 10-15 minutes with the movement of Elenga?
Yeah, I was really impressed with him, to be fair. To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed that this team didn't come out against Leicester when we had them 2 games in a row, because I feel like they might have given them a bit more of a challenge, really. But no, I was impressed with his movement. I was impressed with Ahmad. To be fair, even though it was a bit of a nothing game, they played like, they all had a little bit of something to prove, and so I thought it might have just fizzled out, but it didn't, and they held on for a good win. So, no, I was impressed overall with how it went.
So, Nigel, United played with 2 in midfield, with Matic and our friend Donny. How good did you think Donny looked today, Nigel?
Well, I thought Donny, I mean, to be honest, this is exactly the kind of game I was waiting for, because, I've said in the past that I don't think anyone plays on Donny's level, but there's something about playing with all the kids who, of course, have no previous expectation. They're just there to express themselves and play football, and it showed that he was just floating around and moving, and just nice little touches, and then the triangles started to appear, and we're playing triangles, and we just looked absolutely at times we looked absolutely brilliant. And when you say there was nothing to play for, you got to remember this was Nunez's last game. And so they really wanted to send him out on a high. So they were really playing football. They played an expansive game, like Tyrell said. Nicky said. They opened up, and so it wasn't, parking the bus. So I thought it was a really good game. It was quite competitive, quite fiery at times. One or two challenges going in, and then of course, we come with that win. I'm really happy with that team.
I mean, they played some good football. I mean, because like Matic, I thought Matic was fantastic. And I mean, Ahmad, how good is he? I mean, I was watching him today. I think you could say that sometimes he overruns the ball a little bit. But I mean, today he looked really good, didn't he? I mean, I take you to the first goal, Nicky. I mean, it was a great move, wasn't it? Obviously, and we had a good crossing from James, and it was a beautiful header, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't think Danny James had those type of deliveries in him, to be fair. But,
Agreed.
but the lad got on the end of it. It was a really good goal, to be fair. Really good goal.
I mean, in fairness, his crossing is actually better than his finishing, wasn't it? Because when he went through with that one-on-one,
oh my days!
Great.
Oh, it was such a beautiful pass as well by Amadou. I was like, what was that? Come on.
I mean,
But
it's funny now because I always say to my dad, the art of dropping the keeper and going round with him is just gone, hasn't it? I mean, Nigel, why didn't he just drop his shoulder and go round him?
I think, someone like James is, because I'm actually a James fan. I think over the next 2 or 3 years, I've got a feeling he's going to come good. And I think it's that, I don't know if they coach this stuff anymore, when it can be coached, but one-on-one with the keeper, there's like so many options, so many things you can do. You can drop the shoulder, you can feint, you can chip the keeper, you can just smack it at him if you want and get a rebound. I just think people freeze when they get in front of the, I don't know if we're comfortable enough as a team, or there only seems to be Greenwood who's ice cold in front of goals. And it's funny, even Ferguson said that not so long ago. Like, of all the strikers in United at the moment, he's the one who is ice cold in front of goal. It reminds him of Van Nistelrooy, and Van Persie. And so, maybe I'm doing him a bit of an injustice. Maybe it is difficult. Maybe when the pressure does kind of hit, then maybe some players freeze. But come on, just drop your shoulder and go around him.
You didn't even get it on target, though. That's the thing. If it
I
sort
know.
of hit it well and the keeper saved it, or it just went past the post, you'd be like, all right, fair enough. But
Yeah.
he just kicked the turf, didn't he?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, United obviously went 1-0 ahead, and it was a beautiful goal from Alenga, and it was a great move. Wolves, like Wolves do, they played themselves into the game, and they got themselves an equaliser. I mean, for about 5 minutes, they were kind of threatening. From a defensive point of view, do you think it was a poor goal to give away? Tyrell?
Yeah, I felt like it was a bit of a poor goal to give away, really. I thought they'd think that they sort of got themselves a little bit tangled up, and I felt like they were trying really hard, and it sort of came across in some things that they're actually doing, that they're trying too hard instead of just playing their game. And then that's how it causes mistakes, because they know that there's a place up for grabs in the final. And they all know, they all would have seen everybody calling out for another centre back, and these two guys are just being overlooked. So I feel like they were trying to prove themselves so much that they cause themselves to make mistakes instead of just playing their natural game, which they both are good players, but it's just on a big occasion. Sometimes we all know that United can have a goal or two in them to concede.
You see, let me, sorry, mate. You see, this is my thing. There's like 2 or 3, in fact, there's about 4 opportunities to take the ball off them. So there's like 4 interventions that were missed by our team. And so it's like, okay, and so you can almost smell the goal coming, because the standard kind of tackle that should be made, or intervention, just send somebody outwards. But we just seem to be 3 or 4 times it happened today. And I'm thinking, you see, now in the past, normally Fred's playing, he's the one that gets lumbered or blamed, said, oh, it's Fred's fault why, United conceded the goal. But there's 4 or 5 opportunities to get rid of that ball. And sometimes we just, sometimes some players, there's definitely an agenda. Because if Fred was on the pitch, you can guarantee we'll be talking, oh, this is Fred's fault for not clearing it. But it's not there.
That's because he would have given the ball away.
So now, the defenders maybe not used to each other. They got a bit tangled. Nothing to do with that. There's 4 opportunities to get rid of that ball.
So, Nigel, how much money have you got invested in Fred?
Just like the guy,
I feel like he paid most of that 60 million himself.
I think Nigel bankrolled that move, didn't he?
Definitely.
I can neither confirm nor deny, man.
But I mean, going on from that, obviously United then went 2-1 ahead. It was a penalty. Obviously, at the time, the referee, Mike Dean, didn't see it. Was it a penalty?
It never does, Mike Dean.
Huh?
It never does.
So, Nicky, did you think it was a penalty? I mean, did you think as soon as you saw the challenge that it was going to go to VAR? Because you get a feeling now, don't you, of what's going to go to VAR, what isn't going to go to VAR. And did you think the penalty was going to be given?
Well, as it happened in real time, I saw him go down, and just instinctively I was like, penalty. But then on the replays, it just looked more and more suspect the more they showed it, to be fair. And then when he went over to look at it, I thought it was one of those decisions where it could have gone 50-50. Like, I think there was a bit of a touch, but going down maybe thought it could be a soft one. But I guess in today's game, it is a penalty, isn't it? Like, pretty much any touch on the ankle or any contact in the box and the player goes down, it's a pen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was a 50-50 one, to be fair, especially going to VAR.
Tyrell, what did you think of it?
I thought it was a penalty. Because the thing is what gets me with these things is that if a player's touched, he was clearly clipped on his ankle, and if he would have stayed up and tried to get a shot off and lost the ball and whatever, and Wolves would have broke, they'd be like, oh, no penalty, he didn't go down. Same thing happened to Patrick Bamford like one or two games ago. Got clipped, he didn't go down and didn't get a penalty. If he would have went down, he would have got a penalty. So for me, he's been kicked, so it's a penalty.
And Nigel, what did you think? I mean, because I thought while I was watching the game, I don't know if you could get from the sort of like commentary that they were going from it's a soft one to no, it's definitely a penalty. It's definitely a penalty. Well, it's a bit soft, and then yeah, it's definitely a penalty. Did you get that?
Yeah. What's the guy called, the commentator? Is it the one from the Newcastle player?
Jermaine Jennings it was.
Yeah, Jermaine Jennings. He was absolutely livid that it was given one because he was convinced it wasn't one. And even after it had been given, he kept going on about it. It's like, get over it, man. It's been given. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware. I don't know if you noticed, but the ball is so far away from the inside because it's kicked the ball and it's gone. And that's when the contact's been made with the ankle. So it's not like he was trying to get the ball. He was nowhere near the ball. So he's actually going for the ankle. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, okay, it might be a bit soft. The touch might not be great, but you look at the whole thing. He has no business trying to go for him. He's actually trying to foul him because he's long gone. So I'm like, it's got to be a penalty.
One time we agree, Nigel.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny because I kind of thought personally that it was a penalty because I thought the same thing, that he'd actually gone from the ball had long gone. But it was funny because Peter Walton, who obviously is the referee in the studio that they get to help with the VAR decisions, he was kind of, oh, it's a bit soft, I'm siding with you. And then as he went to, and then all of a sudden he just went, no, they're going to give it. And it was kind of funny because obviously I've got the, the United app, and that told me before the VAR decision came through that it was a penalty, which was I found quite funny. Obviously, we get the penalty, and Juan Mata steps up, and he takes a beautiful penalty, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And this brings me on to the point. This looks like it could be Juan's last game. Tyrell, has he been a great servant for the club? And is it time for him to leave?
I think he has. I think he's done his best. And I feel like I personally feel like we didn't get the best out of him because we played him out of position, playing him on the right-hand side when he was a number 10. And then he sort of was pushed out to the right-hand side, and then that's where everybody played him. So I felt like we did him a disservice there. But despite that, Matt is one of them players where he's such a loyal, humble, good personality around. He never complained, he never moaned. He got out there and he did his best. He tried his best for the team. And it could have gone better, but for me, I think it was a good signing. And yeah, I like Mata. I'm gutted that he didn't achieve more, and I feel like he would have achieved more with getting played in more or less the right position and a bit of better signings around him.
I love the guy, to be fair. I think it's just unfortunate for him that we signed him at the wrong time. Like, we're in our sort of transition phases, and it's just a shame that he has to be here at this time. But I think it is time for him to go, because people talk about deadwood, and sometimes that's sort of like labelled as like a negative term, so like just the terrible players. But I think he's at an age now where he's not really offering much to the team, like on the pitch anyway, maybe off the pitch, but you may as well sell him to just sort of free up that space and wages in the team. So if he has to go to be able to afford Sancho and number 6, then so be it. I don't think we'd miss him in the like not in the grand scheme, not too much anyway.
So a natural involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for him to
yeah.
move on. Yeah. And Nigel,
No.
one matter.
So I'm a big fan. I think I agree with everything that's been said. I think it kind of reminds me of Gary Neville and Paul Scholes, like towards the end where Fergie just kept extending it for another year. It's almost it's up to you if you want to stay. You know, because of what you've done, you can stay for another year. And I think I'm kind of like that with him. If he stays for another year, I don't think he's a great character around the pitch. I'm really fascinated by body language, and at the end of the game, it's the way everybody's hugging him, and everybody. He's just such a lovely guy, and you've heard all the stories about when people meet him on the streets, and he's just as lovely to fans as he is. I didn't want to play around the ground. So he's one of those guys. If he wants to, I think it's up to him. You know, it's almost if you want to stay, man. You're more than welcome. And if you want to go and try elsewhere, then you go with our blessing. So you know, whatever he does, I support him, man. Because you know, I like him.
So, Nicky, if I start with you, what's your favourite goal from one matter?
That's easy. The scissor kick at Anfield. It's got to be on it.
It was a beauty, wasn't it?
It's got to be. Juanfield, as they say, ain't it? Like,
Yeah,
it's got to be that. Yeah.
And Tyrell, yours?
It was going to be the scissor kick at Anfield. That was one of those beautifulest goals that we've scored there.
What about the one before that? Because he got two that game, didn't he? Do you remember the move for the first goal that day?
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yes, that was good.
And how beautiful was that move?
He's just such a silky player.
He
He's like, you rarely see him smash the ball, do you? He just places it with such accuracy. So his finesse is brilliant, man. I will miss him. I can't lie, because he was a good character around to have, and I feel like he was good for the development of the other players as well. But you know, he's 32 now, so he probably wants to play a few more years before he hangs his boots up. So yeah.
No different, man. That's the only first goal that springs to mind. And you know what? I'll probably go and watch a show reel after this and see all his goals and probably change my mind. But that's the one that's the iconic goal, and it's against the Scousers. So of course, that's the one that sticks out. But
if I remember correctly as well, that game, didn't Gerrard get sent off after 45 seconds?
That's the one.
That was the same game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody got sent off, yeah.
His heat map was alive.
Bit of that game. Yeah.
I'm going to go different. My goal from Matter, and the one that's always given me the most pleasure, is the equaliser against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final. Rooney does the great run. He clips it to the far post. Fellaini chests it. And before, because Fellaini does everything in stages, before he got to volley it, man was there before him. So that's mine. So, and that was mine. So, I mean, like, just rounding it up, I mean, like, from a United point of view, I think, like, this season we finished on 74 points.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually scored, was it 8 more points than last season? We've scored 7 more goals than last season, but conceded, unfortunately, 8 more than we did last season.
I mean, people always talk about, well, if you finish second and you win the Europa final, then that's. But I don't, because we were in the Champions League, and because we did so poorly in there, that's why we're at this final. So. And I look at the table. Look at it, and what a crazy last day, by the way. What's Liverpool doing finishing third? It just goes to show you how much of a crazy season it's been.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it really should have been 21 in 21. We have missed a massive trick. Or if we'd cut out all the nonsense, and of course, had Ollie not made some of the crazy, decisions he made into the lineup and into the strategy, I'm sure we would have been celebrating 21 and 21. So people talk about, well, would you have taken this at the beginning of the year? Well, maybe. But the reality is, looking back at the end of the season, a massive opportunity missed. We progressed in some areas, definitely. And that team today gives me a lot of hope for the future. But the reality is, is Ollie the guy that's going to really bring the glory days back, I still don't know. The jury's still out, and after 3 or 4 years, the jury shouldn't be out. We should know now, shouldn't we? I still don't know.
I think it all hinges on the Europa League final. Finishing second, 12 points behind City. That's obviously an improvement from last year, but I think Ollie's got to get this hooder off his back, and he's got to bring him a trophy. And then with regards to what Uncle was saying about the Solskjaer and his sort of like dodgy tactics and like picking the players and stuff like that, he thinks we would have won the league. I don't know. I think we all just got a bit carried away earlier on in the season. And then now that things have calmed down a bit, and when you look back at it, we're just not there yet. There's too many question marks in the team in terms of personnel and probably over the manager as well. Like, I don't think teams win leagues when there's question marks over the starting 11 and manager. I just think we got a bit carried away, and we're just not there yet.
Yeah, for me, I'm sort of echoing what the guys has already said, but I feel like it has been successful in the sense of the progression that we've made. Because even though when we were top of the league, I had no expectation to win the league, not a chance. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to enjoy it while we're up there. You know what I mean? It's been a long time, so I enjoyed it while we were up there. But I had no expectation to win it because, like Nick said, there's too many question marks around the central defense, the central midfield. Is like if Bruno wasn't playing to his best, or if Pogba wasn't playing to his best, then we had no creativity. There was too much of that, and I always knew we would slip away. So, like I said, I do feel like it does hinge on Ollie getting a trophy and winning the Europa League as a good consolation, and getting that feeling back into the club and into the players that they can win stuff and get stuff over the line, because we couldn't get past the semi-final before. So I do feel like it's been successful. It's been progressed a lot, but I think Ollie's whole career at Manchester United now as a manager hinges on next season, because we were in the exact same position with Mourinho. He got us to second. We all will look good. Everyone's excited for the next season, and then it just fell apart again.
Yeah.
So it all depends on his recruitment this summer. If he gets in the right players in the right positions and he pushes, and if we didn't win the league next year, but if it was close and we could see that progression and we could see the team coming together, then that will be a statement for him. But it all hinges on next season, is if we can kick on and move on from here.
Yeah. Can I just jump in there, because you both made some great points, and I'm just looking at all the results for the season, and I think we lost it in January. So we've just beaten Liverpool in the FA Cup. Then we lose to Sheffield United. Then we draw with Arsenal. And then we batter Southampton 9-0. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we draw with Everton.
Yeah.
And then 2-0 up against
Kieran Zaber gave away that goal.
And then it's just draw against West Brom. And it's and then a draw against Chelsea, and it's draw. All we needed, we lost by 4 games. We needed 4 more wins and we would have won it.
Yeah.
Look at all those results that should know. And so I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. I think next season's the season. I think Ollie knows it's last chance to lose now. I think everybody knows this has got to be this. He's got to deliver next season. But look at that. We could have won it this year, and I can't get away from that.
I think it would have been nice for us to make it a challenge,
Yeah.
Into the last couple of weeks of the season, to at least have a chance of knowing. Because I think 4 or 5 games ago, we kind of knew that it had gone. But this brings me to the next good point, because just to want to throw this in quickly. The transfer market's about to open. Do you buy Harry Kane and you don't recruit the players that we really need? Or do you recruit the players that we really need and leave Harry Kane? So I'll start with you, Nicky.
If it was strictly out of those 2 choices that you just given, I'd say leave Harry Kane. Because you can't sort of plug one hole and still have the other ones still pouring out water. Do you know what I mean? So I think the the number 6 or the midfielder, that's a massive, massive issue. Like, you can't go much further than we are now, playing McTominay and Fred all the time. Like, that's a massive issue. The right side is another massive issue. Like, Wan-Bissaka's operating that side on his own effectively for like 2 years. I just think those two together might be a stronger combination than Kane on his own. Like, that's just me though.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point that you made, because what we need is in that number 6 role, one player that does the job that 2 players are doing now, which then frees up the other players, doesn't it? And I don't know about you guys, but you know, I at times I just see a little bit of, you know, there's not the creativity that we need in certain games. And it kind of like gets to the point of like 70 minutes and then he throws on 2 subs and you think, no, we should have done this. We didn't need to, like, you know, at West Brom away, do we really need to start with Fred and McTominay? You know?
Yeah.
You know, so...
Yeah, and I'm not convinced Pogba should be sat in the pivot role anymore. I've enjoyed watching him coming in from the left, you know, playing a bit more advanced. So there's a lot of things to fix, and Harry Kane for me just doesn't. I think, like I said in the last show, he's the right guy but at the wrong time. So you know, unfortunately, we just got to leave it there.
Yeah, I can't. I said it on a different podcast today. I can't condone paying 150 mil for Harry Kane. It's not the right time. It's not like when we bought in Van Persie and we had a good team and we just needed that missing piece. We don't. And Harry Kane's not going to score us any goals if we can't get him the ball. It's simple as that. We can't get him the ball if Fred's passing it sideways or losing it. We can't get in the ball if McTominay's passing it sideways or losing it. And we can't get in the ball if the defense. We're not going to win if the defense is still leaking goals. So my priority is that the central defender and a central midfielder and that right side. And if that means missing out on Harry Kane, it's fine. We've got Cavani, we've got Greenwood, we've got Rashford, we've got Martial. They can put them goals in, especially with Cavani there as well. So yeah, I'd rather leave him. I'd leave him this year. And to be fair, I personally don't think he's gonna go. Yeah, I think he's gonna get priced out of a move.
Yeah, I think you've got a messy situation at Barcelona happening there where he'll probably end up signing a new contract for more money and they'll keep him there, because I think it'll just take most of the transfer window for it to happen. This brings me on to, obviously, on Wednesday night, United have obviously finished the season and we go to playing Gdansk and we play the Europa League final against Villarreal. Now, I've done a little bit of research. Nigel knows I like to do a little bit of European research, don't you, Nigel?
Yes, Vernon.
And don't look that interested, Nigel. Now, Villarreal, which loosely translates into English to Royal Town, are currently managed by Unai Emery. They're from the eastern part of Spain. They play in the Stadium Estadio de la Ceramica. And the players to watch are, we all know because he's constantly been linked to us, Pau Torres, also Dani Parejo, who used to play for Valencia, and Gerard Moreno, who's up front, who's simply named as Gerard. So, guys, going into this game, we're clearly favourites. We've been installed by favourites. Even people in Spain and Villarreal have installed us as favourites. Looking forward to the final. How do you feel?
I am not looking forward to that final, only because I really wanted. You kind of got to play towards a final. You got even Ferdinand said it today, didn't he? You kind of play towards a final, so you want the players fighting to get into the final, and it's clearly the team's already been picked, and I just don't like the lack of momentum. You know, the team that's got to play in the final haven't performed well the last 2 or 3 games. The team today was great, but that's not the team playing in the final. And so I'm very nervous about the lack of momentum. I'm hoping it's everyone's playing within themselves because they're really going to go and launch and play, you know, amazing on the final. But I've never seen that before with this crop of lads. And so I'm very nervous about the final. And even though the fact that we're now the book's favourite as well, it's extra pressure. They can play without pressure now because they're not the favourites. and I can just see them. I can just see us becoming unstuck. Because that's just how we are. I shouldn't be so negative, but this team, you can't trust them. It's not like the United of old. And this manager, I can't trust this manager. So I'm nervous.
I'm with Nigel. I'm a bit nervous because of the momentum, and previously when he's rested players and pretty much picked a team coming up for another game, they've not started with that bit of hunger, or because they know that they're the ones. So I'm nervous. I feel like we should win, and I feel like it's going to be close. I think it's going to be like a 2-1 or a 3-2. I think it's going to be a close draw, but I am a bit nervous because, especially without Maguire, because we leak goals with Maguire, never mind without him. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I do think we're gonna win, but I feel like it's gonna be a hard game. I feel like it's gonna be a hard game, especially if Villarreal come out the traps fast.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So, Nicky, I mean, it looks like we're going to start with De Gea in net. Do you feel that's the right choice?
Oh, I don't know really. It seems like he's been sort of, I don't want to say relegated to the cup goalkeeper, but it seems like him and Henderson have swapped roles a bit. So Henderson played today against Wolves, didn't he? So yeah, probably De Gea will start. And in terms of, is it the right choice? I don't know. I think this goalkeeper situation is in like a bit of danger of sort of only making a pig's ear out of it, because you can't really choose which one he prefers. Like, continuously swapping goalkeepers always sounds like dodgy business to me. So De Gea probably will start though, I think.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll stay. Nigel,
Yeah.
coming to you. The back four, how do you feel? What do you feel? It looks like, I mean, Ollie said today in his press conference, it looks like there's uncertainty around Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
Who comes in with Lindelof? Because obviously he's going to play Lindelof. Who comes in, Bailey or Tunzembe?
See, I think that's his mistake right there. Like I said, I've watched Villarreal. I've watched a couple of their games, and they're no mugs, and they're quite quick around the box. And I think any club that's going to do their homework is going to pinpoint that defender there, because it's just not. It's so easy. Lindelof is so easy to harass, and I think that would be my strategy with him. So I think he should pick the same two that were there today, Bailly and Tuanzebe. They did nothing wrong. They were great. Just funny point, actually. I thought Henderson was responsible for the goal today, actually. As well, because I thought he could have maybe done a bit more to save that ball. I think if De Gea was in net, he might have saved it. So, again, it's another one of those marks against Henderson. So, yeah, so the back four for me, the two, obviously, the right back and left back pick themselves in Shaw and Wan Bissaka. But, yeah, I'd go for, I mean, I know Ollie will pick probably Bailly to go with Lindelof if I'm answering what Ollie's going to do. But what I would do is put Tuanzebe in with Lindelof.
I disagree. I think he's going to go with Tunzebe, and I think, Tyra, we agree on this, don't we? Because one thing that we've noticed over the last couple of games, Tunzebe's been playing in Maguire's position, hasn't he? Lindelof and Bailey have been playing on the favoured side, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's going with Tuanzebe, but shockingly, I agree with Nigel again, is that I feel like Lindelof shouldn't play, and I feel like it should be Bailly and Tuanzebe. I feel Lindelof's just too suspect. He's slow. We know Villarreal's fast. I know Bailly can be a bit reckless, but at least he's got that pace behind him, and we're going to need that pace. So my back four would be Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Tuanzebe, and Shaw.
Oh yeah. I think
the problem is. Oh
no, go on, Nicky.
Sorry.
Go on.
I think the problem is with those three defenders. Like since Maguire's been out, none of them have sort of really stuck a claim for it. None of them have seen, right, Maguire's out, right, I'm the man. Like, you guys, I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely playing in the cup final. No one's put in a performance like that. So, like, no one's really made up Solskjaer's mind for him. No one's been in a patch of form where he's like, he's got to play. He's firing. So that, I
But
think
no,
that's his
no,
problem,
no one's
like,
had the chance on Nicky, have they?
like they've all been like okay. Do you know what I mean? None of
You
them
know,
have
I would say
really
that
stepped up.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Axel got man of the match today. Toonzabi, he was actually
Oh, did he?
voted man of the match.
Yeah.
And I actually thought he looked a little bit more comfortable. I think where the problem lies, especially with this United team, is Ollie doesn't rotate enough. So like his
Right.
centre halves, you know, he goes with Maguire, Lindelof all the time. So
Well, that was
they look rusty, don't they, coming in? So
Well, that was the point I
the
was going
Roma
to
game,
make. Yeah,
huh?
sorry, mate. That's the point I was going to make because I don't think players have a chance to stake their claim because Ollie just has his favourites. And like, for example, Twanzania playing against PSG had a brilliant, world-class game, brilliant.
Agree.
Yeah, has just one hiccup in the next game, and that's it, it's gone.
Now this is the big one, but I think we all know the answer. The midfield. So Nigel, let me start with you. And you can't pick Fred.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be Fred. Gotta be Fred.
No.
I put.
just give them the trophy.
I go, Matt Tominay, sit this one out, mate. It's gonna be Fred. You know, I'd put Van der Beek in there because I really do like Van der Beek, so I put Van der Beek in with Fred.
Pretty controversial.
It's in Nicky's face.
I wasn't expecting that.
Well, it's interesting because I thought he had a really good game today, Van der Beek. I thought he looked really good, but the very fact that he started today sort of indicates he's not going to start on Wednesday night.
Of course, I'm not saying what I think is going to happen. I'm saying what I personally would like to see. Because I've been banging on about players trying to play himself into that final, and I thought he's took a claim to get into that final lineup. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Obviously, Bruno will play, so he'll be in the 10. And then the guys on the wings, I'd go Rashford, and I'd go Rashford and Greenwood. But if it was my choice in the midfield too, I'd go McTominay and Pogba. Because I think Fred not even being in the squad today probably insinuates that he's further behind in his recovery than Scott, who was in the. I think Scott was on the bench, wasn't he?
Well, he was, but
so maybe I'd probably say McTominay, Pogba.
What Nigel failed to tell you, is that Fred's actually at his enjoying some apple crumble now. But I mean, bon dia. But I mean, going back to that, do we feel that Rashford's better on the left? Because to me, on the right, he doesn't look comfortable, Rashford. So would you sacrifice Pogba for Rashford?
Well, I was going to ask Nicky, where does Pogba fit into your team?
I think Pogba and McTominay is the 2.
Yeah.
And then Rashford left, Greenwood right, Bruno in the 10, and then probably. But I don't know, because you do lose a lot from Rashford playing from the right, don't you?
Yeah.
And sometimes Pogba from that left side, although it looks good on paper, sometimes he doesn't always deliver what it's like meant to do. So that's another one of Ollie's problems. He's got that, like the players he's got available. I don't think he can quite arrange them in an order where they all get where he gets the best out of all of them at the same time.
My midfield has to be McTominay, Pogba, and Bruno.
And would you have Pogba or so Rashford on the left?
Rashford on the left, right. Greenwood on the right, Cavani up front. That is our best team.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny sometimes because sometimes you can see Rashford, can't you? And you think he's going to try and take on 6 players, and then the shot gets blocked, doesn't it? You think,
yeah.
I hope it's not one of those performances. Guys, I'm going to ask you. It's prediction time for the final. What I've got to say though is before we go on to that, I think that we can all remember that yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of the Manchester bombing, and I think we can't really go through the show without mentioning it because it was 2 days before the last final, and rightly so, it overshadowed the final, and I don't think anybody really could enjoy it. So what I would like to say is, from the Red Shirt podcast, the 23 that perished, in that horrible night at the arena, you're gone, but you're never forgotten. And to every United fan out there, enjoy this week, because 4 years ago, none of us rightly did so. And if we did, I'm sure there was a level of guilt. So anyway, thank you very much. And
Well said.
time for predictions. So Nigel, I'll start with you.
Right. You know what? I think you touched on it earlier. Every game with this team so far has been a 0-0 draw. I reckon it's going to be a 0-0 draw, and we're going to win it on penalties.
So a long night, Nigel.
A long night.
Okay, a long night. So any just in case, anybody who's interested in a good night and some great apple pie and apple crumble, can go to Nigel's on Wednesday. So, Nikki, because I'm sure you've had apple crumble at your Uncle Nigel's, where do you stand on your prediction?
I think we'll win it outright in the 90, and I'm gonna go 3-1.
3-1. So you're looking for an
3-1
entertaining night.
Yeah. I just think ultimately we'll have a bit too much quality.
Yeah, I like that positivity. So Tyrell, with apple crumble or without apple crumble, where do you stand on Wednesday night?
Well, I'll be without apple crumble because I can't watch a game with Mr. Fred. So I think it's gonna be about 3-2. I think it's gonna be close, and I feel like we'll go behind first as well.
Yeah, we do like to go behind in the final,
Yeah.
don't we? We never, it was funny because I go back to the Champions League final against Chelsea, and we looked so comfortable when we went 1-0 ahead. And then you had that rubbish shot, didn't you, that come in? And all of a sudden, Lampard scooped it all up and put it in the net, didn't he? And I remember thinking at that time, we looked so comfortable, and then that happened. And we do like to go make things hard for ourselves, don't we, as a club?
Yeah.
I've got one of those feelings that we could go ahead, and then we could get a second goal, and then United will get all kamikaze, and they'll concede one, and we'll look like a nervous wreck for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that I get. Like the Roma game where we even managed to sort of like mess that up nearly, didn't we?
Yeah, Fred tried his best.
So guys, I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win. So that wraps it up, Nigel, for another show. And I'd like to say, as usual, love life, love football, and Nigel,
keep that red flag flying. Peace.
Good night, guys.
The Red Shirt Podcast, by Reds, for Reds. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to the Red Shirt Podcast.